We're going to be talking about one of the last words of Jesus Christ on the cross. It is finished. And what is the meaning behind that? Jesus Christ's death has so much meaning for humanity, and also everything he said and did also has meaning. And understanding why things had to happen takes a little digging so that you can look at the Bible as a whole and see the meaning from God's point of view.
Let's start right before the death of Jesus Christ. We know that Jesus was sacrificed on a cross in Jerusalem, or more exactly, right outside of the city. And we all know that Jesus entered Jerusalem on a donkey. Let's pull back a little bit and understand the scope of what was happening as he came to the city. He had told his disciples that he was going to die there and knew what he had to do. We know from John's Gospel that he came to Bethany just outside of the city. John 12:1. Then 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany where Lazarus was, who had been dead, whom he had raised from the dead. Yes, this is the same Lazarus that Jesus raised from the dead. But look at that detail for the timing. 6 days before the Passover.
There are many things that happened during that week in Jerusalem, from the prediction of the destruction of the temple to the cursing of the fig tree, and even later in the week to the Last Supper, the betrayal of Jesus by one of his followers, to ultimately his death. All those things are important, but that it was 6 days before the Passover is very important to what we are discussing. That is key to understanding why things were happening.
Now, for the purposes of this video, we are going to skip most of the week and go to the Gospel where Jesus dies on the cross. We know from John's Gospel what the second to the last phrase that Jesus said was. John 19:30. So when Jesus had received the sour wine, he said, "It is finished," and bowing his head, he gave up his spirit. It is finished. That is a powerful phrase about why Jesus had to die for humanity's sins, and that everything that was supposed to be done was done. The finished works of Jesus Christ had been accomplished on the cross.
On this channel, we aren't here for theology lessons, just the deeper connections of the Bible. That phrase is going to connect to things and reveal something quite beautiful about God and why things happen. This is going to be cool. The reason why Jesus had to die always goes back to the beginning in Genesis. And if we look to Genesis, we see an amazing connection to the death of Jesus.
Right before the story of the Garden of Eden, it describes the creation of heaven and earth in chapter 1. Now in that chapter, it describes everything being created day by God for 6 days. Notice that. God created everything in 6 days. Now that is a nice symbolic but tenuous connection to the last week of Jesus in Jerusalem. But we'll start connecting things a lot more concretely. But there is something in the beginning of Genesis, chapter 2, that shows that this is a real connection. Genesis 2:1. Thus the heavens and the earth and all the host of them were finished. So after 6 days of work in chapter 1, including creating humans on the 6th day, God had finished his creation. Kind of like Jesus finished his work of 6 days in Jerusalem on the cross. That's a nice connection, but we aren't done yet. It keeps getting better and better. The very next verses in chapter 2 has even more significance. Genesis 2:2-3. And on the 7th day, God ended his work which he had done, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had done. Then God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all his work, which God had created and made.
Okay, get this. This is awesome. We know from Jewish culture that the Sabbath was always on a Saturday. So when God rested after the 6 days of creation in Genesis chapter 1, he would have rested on Saturday. So that means that the day before, when God created humans on the 6th day, that would have been Friday when he completed his work. You might know where we're going now. All right, now let's get back to Jesus' week in Jerusalem. Remember when he arrived in Bethany 6 days before the Passover? Now let us go to a clue right after Jesus' death.
Mark 15:42. Now when evening had come, because it was the preparation day, that is, the day before the Sabbath. And also in Luke 23:52-54. This man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then he took it down, wrapped it in linen, and laid it in a tomb that was hewn out of the rock, where no one had ever lain before. That day was the preparation, and the Sabbath drew near. Look at that. Jesus is dead, and the Sabbath was drawing near. That means Jesus also died on a Friday, just like when God created the heavens and the earth. So when they both finished their work, they both finished it on Friday. Boom! Let's summarize all the connections, including the next day too, to see it for yourselves. God created the world in 6 days. Jesus spent 6 days in Jerusalem. God created humans on the 6th day and finished his creation work on a Friday. Jesus said, "It is finished," dies, and finished his redemption work for humans on a Friday. God made the Sabbath a day of rest on Saturday. And Jesus rested in the ground on Sabbath, which is Saturday. Wow, it all connects perfectly.
If you think these things are just coincidences, then you might suffer from a lack of faith. These connections happen because as Peter calls Jesus the author of life, and that God is guiding and telling this amazingly interconnected story. And now you know why Jesus said, "It is finished." He finished his works of redemption on a Friday after a week, just like his Father finished his works of creation on a Friday after a week of work. And they both rested on Saturday. Just awesome. God is truly amazing. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button for more videos so I can keep sharing the connected Word of God. God bless.